All right, let's jump right in. Ever had one of those amazing ideas and just wondered, how could I actually make this happen? Well, today we're cracking open the Kidpreneur Playbook. It's basically your guide to building that very first business plan. So let's get into it. You know what I'm talking about, right? That light bulb moment. It could be in the shower, or maybe you're just walking down the street and bam, an idea hits you, and it feels like it could be huge. You know, anything from a killer lemonade stand to a custom t-shirt business, or maybe even the next big app. But here's the big question. How do you take that spark and turn it into a real, actual business? The answer? You need a plan, a blueprint. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We're breaking down the playbook that gives you a solid structure, a way to turn that awesome idea into a real success story. Okay, first things first, let's talk about mindset. And hey, don't get hung up on the word kidpreneur. Seriously, this is not just for kids. It's a way of thinking that's valuable for anyone, at any age. We're talking about building those really important life skills, critical thinking, solving problems, and actually seeing a challenge and thinking, hey, there's an opportunity here. So once you've got that mindset dialed in, you need a tool, something to give your brilliant idea some structure. And that, my friends, is the business plan. This is the moment you stop just daydreaming and start doing. Think of it as the ultimate roadmap for the entire adventure.
So what is a business plan, really? Yeah, okay, it's a formal document, but that sounds kind of boring. A better way to think about it? It's your blueprint for success. It's where you lay out everything, your big goals, the strategies to get there, and of course, the numbers that prove it can work. Seriously, don't think of it as homework. It's your most important guide.
And a good plan has a certain flow, a logic to it. It all kicks off with the executive summary. That's like the trailer for your movie, the big picture overview. Then you start diving deeper. You'll describe your company, you'll analyze the market, who else is out there, and you'll get super specific about your product or service. After that, it's all about your marketing and sales plan. And finally, the money part, your financial projections. The beauty of this structure is that it forces you to think through every single step, no skipping.
All right, let's talk about something that is so important, market research. I mean, it's one thing to have a brilliant idea, but you can't have it in a bubble, right? You absolutely have to understand the world your business is going to live in. Like, who are your customers? Who are you competing against? And what opportunities are just sitting there, waiting for you?
And one of the best tools for this is something called a SWOT analysis. It's a fantastic way to get a full 360-degree view of where you stand. So here's how it works. First, you look inward at your own business. What's helpful? Those are your strengths. What's harmful? Those are your weaknesses. Then you look outward at the market. You're looking for opportunities you can jump on and threats you need to keep an eye on. It sounds simple, and it is, but man, is it effective for seeing the whole picture.
Okay, deep breath. We're heading into the part that sometimes makes people nervous. The numbers. Yep, we're talking about costs, pricing, and, how you're actually going to make money. But don't sweat it. We're going to break this all down into simple pieces anyone can get.
So the first thing you've got to get straight is that not all costs are created equal. They're just not. If you want to make smart money decisions, you have to know what kind of expenses you're looking at. So let's split them up into three main buckets.
So you've got three main types. First, there are fixed costs. These are the ones that stay the same every single month, no matter what. Think rent or that software subscription. Then you have variable costs. These go up and down depending on how much you make. So if you're baking cookies, it's the cost of the flour and sugar for every single cookie. And last, you've got your one-time costs. The stuff you hopefully only have to buy once, like getting your website designed. Knowing the difference here, it's everything when it comes to planning your money right. Okay, so once you've got a handle on your costs, it's time to talk pricing. And here's a little secret for you. Pricing is so much more than just taking your costs and adding a little extra. No. It's a huge strategic move. It affects how people see your brand and, of course, how much profit you can make. So how in the world do you find that sweet spot, that perfect price? Well, it's a balancing act. You've got to juggle four key things. Yeah, you start with your costs, that's a given. But you also have to peek at what your competitors are charging. Then you got to figure out what customers are actually willing to pay. And maybe most important of all is the perceived value of your product. Just think about it, right? A piece of unique, handmade jewelry can sell for way more than something that's mass-produced because we perceive it as being worth more. Now that is strategy. Look, putting together a business plan is obviously going to teach you a ton about finance, marketing, and strategy. But the real prize? It goes so much deeper than that. The skills you pick up along the way, the way you start to think, it completely changes how you look at pretty much any challenge that comes your way. And that right there, that's the heart of it. Learning to think like an entrepreneur isn't just about starting a business. It's about becoming a creative, resilient problem solver. And that skill set, I'm telling you, it will help you in every single part of your life, whether you ever launch a company or not.
So there you have it. You've seen the playbook, and now you have the tools. This whole process, from that first spark of an idea to the research and the final plan, it's all designed to give your creativity a backbone, to turn it into something real. So the only question left is, what problem are you going to solve?